That's the only difference between what President Trump is doing and what these Democrats have promised the American people for decades. He's actually following through on the promise to cut federal government waste. Election. Think about your life under Donald Trump 4 years ago. Think about your life today under Vice President Kamala Harris.
What happens when fiery rhetoric, controversial policies, and bold personalities collide? Well, buckle up, because we're diving into the explosive drama surrounding Karoline Leavitt Ilhan Omar and the whirlwind of political chaos that's gripping Washington right now. This story has everything: accusations, dramatic showdowns, and some jaw-dropping quotes that'll have people talking for weeks. Let's get into it.
So oftentimes we were dealt with defending some of the things that he had said or done, and it made it difficult because we were pushing forth policies that were really, really good.
The drama kicked off when Karoline Leavitt, the youngest and arguably one of the most polarizing press secretaries to ever grace the White House stage, took aim at Democratic lawmakers for what she described as violence-inciting rhetoric. During a tense press briefing, Leavitt didn't hold back. With her signature no-nonsense delivery, she addressed claims that prominent Democratic figures were encouraging unrest. She pointed to remarks made by Congresswoman Monica McIver, who declared, "We are at war," and Ilhan Omar, who ominously suggested we might actually see somebody get hurt. And then there was Chris Van Hollen's dramatic statement: "We have to fight this in the Congress. We have to fight this in the streets." According to Leavitt, if similar remarks had come from Republicans, the outrage would have been seismic. "It's unacceptable," she said, calling out what she described as a double standard in how the media scrutinizes political rhetoric.
And as President Trump asked in his speech last night, how could anyone possibly be opposed to any of this action that he is taking?
Leavitt then pivoted to defend the administration's recent controversial moves, including the so-called DOGE initiative spearheaded by none other than Elon Musk. Musk, who's been dubbed a special government employee, has been tasked with heading the newly minted Department of Government Efficiency. The goal? To slash unnecessary spending and make the federal government more accountable. Sounds harmless enough, right? Well, not according to critics like Omar, who claim this initiative is little more than a power grab that allows Musk's team access to sensitive government systems. Leavitt dismissed these concerns, emphasizing that the DOGE engineers only have read-only access to Treasury systems.
In the media, because I think it's a real fallacy that there's this alleged lack of transparency when it comes to DOGE. President Trump and Elon Musk have been incredibly...
Let's not forget the immigration drama. Leavitt faced tough questions about reports that some undocumented individuals detained by immigration authorities were being released with monitoring devices rather than being deported. She quickly pointed out that the administration has been working overtime to address these challenges, but highlighted the need for congressional support to expand detention facilities. "We are doing everything we can," she insisted, blaming bureaucratic roadblocks and limited resources for the current situation. Still, this issue has added fuel to the already fiery debate over immigration policy.
You have spoken quite a bit this week about what USAID meant in your life, particularly when you were living in a refugee camp.
And just when you thought things couldn't get more heated, the conversation shifted to Gaza. The Trump administration has unveiled a bold plan to rebuild the region while ensuring peace for both Palestinians and Israelis. Of course, this is Trump we're talking about, so the plan has been anything but traditional. Critics have slammed the proposal as unrealistic, particularly since it hinges on cooperation from regional allies like Egypt and Jordan, who've already rejected the idea of taking in Palestinian refugees. Leavitt, however, remained optimistic, emphasizing the president's desire to bring stability to the region and blaming Hamas for the current devastation. Still, when pressed on whether the U.S. might send troops to Gaza, she left the door open, saying the president has not committed to that yet. That answer has left many wondering just how far the administration is willing to go to make this plan a reality.
We have contracts upon contracts that we can send and provide this information to you. Let me be very clear. We are not trying to hide anything.
While the administration continues to float the possibility of military involvement, critics warn that such a move could spark broader regional instability. Some foreign policy experts have expressed concerns that the U.S. risks being drawn into a prolonged conflict, with one unnamed analyst describing the plan as a dangerous gamble. Meanwhile, allies in the region, including Egypt and Jordan, have reportedly been hesitant to fully back the proposal, citing their own internal challenges and fears of increased tensions with neighboring countries. Yet Leavitt remains steadfast, insisting that the administration's goal is peace and stability.
Yeah, I mean, what we are witnessing is a constitutional crisis. We are seeing an executive branch that has decided that they are no longer going to abide by the Constitution.
Adding to the complexity is the humanitarian crisis unfolding in Gaza. Leavitt pointed to heartbreaking images of destruction, calling them a direct result of Hamas's actions. However, aid organizations argue that the people of Gaza are paying the ultimate price, urging the U.S. to prioritize humanitarian relief efforts over military solutions. The president, according to Leavitt, is determined to rebuild Gaza into a thriving and peaceful region. But the question remains, at what cost and with whose support?
Well, the president has already taken a very strong stance on this issue this week with the signing of his executive order, a few executive orders in this space.
The stakes are undeniably high, and the mixed reactions from global leaders only add to the uncertainty. Saudi Arabia and Bahrain have reportedly expressed interest in mediating discussions, but their involvement hinges on U.S. guarantees of stability and non-interference in the region's internal politics. Leavitt assured reporters that the president's team is actively engaging with these nations, but whether such talks will yield tangible results is anyone's guess. But wait, there's more. The administration is also shaking things up on the domestic front with an executive order aimed at banning transgender athletes from competing in women's sports. This move has sparked fierce debate, with supporters hailing it as a win for fairness and critics decrying it as discriminatory. Leavitt didn't mince words, defending the order as a necessary step to protect women's sports and accusing human rights groups of ignoring the plight of female athletes. They should comply, she said bluntly, when asked how schools would be expected to enforce the order.
It's the official policy of the federal government that there are only two sexes, male and female, and we have directed all federal agencies to comply with.
And if that wasn't enough drama for one day, we've got the ongoing saga of USAID funding. The administration has been cracking down on what it deems wasteful spending, including cutting ties with media outlets like Politico, which reportedly received millions in taxpayer dollars to subsidize subscriptions. Leavitt described these cuts as part of a broader effort to ensure every federal dollar is being spent wisely. This is a whole-of-government effort, she said, emphasizing the administration's commitment to fiscal responsibility. Of course, critics argue these moves are politically motivated, but for Leavitt and her team, it's all about accountability.
These people are just, I really, I'm at the point where it's become really hard to have an intellectual debate with any of these people.
Now let's turn to the internet's reaction, because as always, social media was ablaze. One commenter didn't hold back their feelings about the controversies surrounding Ilhan. Omar, if you're not a legal American citizen, you have no right to be in our Congress or Senate or be a representative in our legal system. That's a sentiment that echoes a lot of frustration from Trump supporters who've long questioned Omar's background and her place in American politics. Another viewer praised Leavitt, writing, "How refreshing to have a press secretary who is intelligent, articulate, and not a pathological liar. Love her or hate her, it's clear Leavitt's brash style is striking a chord with conservatives who feel overlooked by mainstream media. But it's not just Leavitt who's in the spotlight. Omar herself has been facing a tidal wave of scrutiny, from allegations about her past relationships to attacks on her policy positions. The Minnesota congresswoman has become a lightning rod for controversy. Just recently, her primary opponent accused her of failing to disclose key financial details about her husband's business dealings, adding yet another layer of drama to an already messy political landscape. Omar, however, has proven time and again that she's not one to back down. Whether it's clapping back at critics on social media or calling out what she sees as hypocrisy from her opponents, she remains one of the most vocal and polarizing figures in Congress.
Oh, they disrespected the American people. Democrats didn't stand to keep men out of women's sports. They couldn't even clap for a girl who got her head smashed in by a man on a volleyball court.
And let's not forget the broader implications of all this drama. Whether it's the administration's bold moves to reshape the federal government, the fiery rhetoric flying across the aisle, or the ongoing battles over immigration and foreign policy, it's clear the stakes couldn't be higher. As the nation gears up for yet another election cycle, these controversies are sure to dominate headlines and fuel heated debates.
Last night was a very clarifying moment for our country. The Democrats exposed themselves as the party of insanity and hate.
So what do you think? Does Karoline Leavitt's unapologetic style make her the perfect voice for the Trump administration? Or is she just adding fuel to an already raging fire? And what about Ilhan Omar? Are the attacks on her justified, or is she being unfairly targeted? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the biggest stories shaking up Washington. Until next time, stay informed and stay engaged.